Good morning, everyone. I'm
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
I'm
Good
sharing
morning,
the
ma'am.
link with you in the chat box. Is the link visible?
Not now, ma'am.
Just a moment. Okay, just a moment, please. Okay, please check now.
Yes, ma'am, available.
In case anybody is not able to log in through the link, please use the code that I've shared in the chat window and directly go to Peer Deck. Yes, have you logged in? I can see 28 students.
Ma'am, is it a blank slide?
No, you will find the barrier slide on it. You can log in again. Sometimes you get to see the blank
Yes,
slide.
ma'am, found it.
Found it, no? Yeah.
And physical barriers.
Yes. Now Sagar has been shifted to another section. Is there any other CR of CSC 5?
Not yet, ma'am.
Who's
Yes,
the new?
ma'am, Satvik.
Sorry. Who is the CR?
Satvik.
Ma'am, Satvik.
Satvik. Satvik, have you shared your contact details with me? Is Satvik there in the class at all? Satvik is not there. Okay, no worries. All of you start forming your groups now, or you want me to make your groups for the presentations?
Already.
You have made the groups? Yeah, Sagar,
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, we made
Sagar
groups.
had shared a group with me. I'd asked Sagar to share the complete list. So either you can request Sagar to share the list with me directly, or Sagar can share the list with the new CR or anybody from the class, and that list should be shared with me, okay? And start working on your presentations. You have 3 weeks time.
Ma'am, I'm still in no group.
Who's
Yes,
in no?
ma'am, same with me, ma'am.
Sudiksha.
Same, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm just
How many of you are in no group? Raise your hands. Okay, then if you people are in no group, you can make one group. Oh, many people. So there can be 2 groups. Okay, all those of you who are not in any group, divide yourself into 2 groups.
Ma'am,
Yes.
Ma'am, we made a group with the students who shifted, so they will be this part or not?
No, 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 no. Then you need to reshuffle. Now they are part of some
Okay,
other
ma'am.
section. So please,
And then
whatever the
for other students.
yes changes need to be made, you have this week with you, and next week I should get the final list. Okay. So you have this week's time to decide. And in case, please take care, be very considerate when we talk about communication. Ensure that nobody from the class is left out. Akshat, Naman, Syed, do you have anything to ask? Aditya, Akshat, Syed, Daniel? Nothing? Okay, great. So let us begin with this session. So where did we end our discussion yesterday? Had we discussed all the physical barriers?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, gender also?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. So did we go through this, did we begin our discussion on socio-psychological barriers?
Yes, ma'am, we watched a video.
Okay, that was a video on what are psychological barriers. I'm going to now share yet another video with you today. Syed Daniel, do you have any query? Please bring down your hand if there is no doubt.
मैंने सोशियो साइकोलॉजिकल के वीडियो नहीं देखा था जो प्रेजेंटेशन में है अभी.
Yeah, that is what I'm going to show.
Where are the belts for this stuff? Is no one ready? It's a tough call. They're so different. Something funny? No, no.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Is it not audible?
Both those belts.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a moment, I'll share it again.
Look exact belts for this stuff.
Is it audible now?
Ready. Where are the belts for this stuff?
Yes, ma'am.
Is no one ready?
Yes, ma'am.
It's a tough call. They're so different. Something funny? No, nothing's, it's just that both those belts look exactly the same to me. I'm still learning about this stuff and, This stuff? Oh, okay. I see. You think this has nothing to do with you. You go to your closet and you select, I don't know, that lumpy blue sweater, for instance, because you're trying to tell the world that you take yourself too seriously to care about what you put on your back, but what you don't know is that that sweater is not just blue, it's not turquoise, it's not lapis, it's actually cerulean. And you're also blithely unaware of the fact that in 2002, Oscar de la Renta did a collection of cerulean gowns, and then I think it was Yves Saint Laurent, wasn't it, who showed cerulean military jackets? I think we need a jacket here. And then cerulean quickly showed up in the collections of 8 different designers. And then it filtered down through the department stores and then trickled on down into some tragic casual corner where you no doubt fished it out of some clearance bin. However, that blue represents millions of dollars and countless jobs. And it's sort of comical how you think that you've made a choice that exempts you from the fashion industry when in fact you're wearing a sweater that was selected for you by the people in this room from a pile of stuff.
Did you follow it or should I replay it?
Please replay it.
Okay, only once I'll replay and pay attention. Just a moment, please. Is it visible?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am, it is not visible.
Just a moment, please.
Belts for this stuff.
Is it audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a tough call. They're so different. No, nothing's. It's just both of those belts look exactly the same to me. I'm still learning about this stuff and.
Stuff. Oh, okay. I see. You think this has nothing to do with you. You go to your closet and you select, I don't know, that lumpy blue sweater, for instance, because you're trying to tell the world that you take yourself too seriously to care about what you put on your back, but what you don't know is that that sweater is not just blue, it's not turquoise, it's not lapis, it's actually cerulean. And you're also blithely unaware of the fact that in 2002, Oscar de la Renta did a collection of cerulean gowns, and then I think it was Yves Saint Laurent, wasn't it? Showed cerulean military jackets. I think you need a jacket. And then cerulean quickly showed up in collections of 8 different designers. And it filtered down through the department stores and then trickled on down into some tragic casual corner where you no doubt fished it out of some clearance bin. However, that blue represents millions of dollars and countless jobs. And it's sort of comical how you think that you've made a choice that exempts you from the fashion industry when in fact you're wearing a sweater that was selected for you by the people in this room from a pile of stuff.
Okay. So did you figure out what was happening?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, please. Go ahead. Parth.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, the boss is very passionate about her job, her fashion industry, but the employee, which is saying that both of them looks the same, is not that much interested in the fashion industry. So, according to him, they have the same color, almost the same shape. So they look exactly the same to him. So that's what I thought.
Okay. Yes. Yes, Divyam. Good.
Ma'am, there's a difference in perception of the color blue for both of them. While it's just blue for the employee, it means a whole another thing for the boss. Actually explains how it actually came to be.
Yes, how it actually came to be. And she, how she says that this is not even blue that you're wearing. It's not even turquoise. It's not even lapis. It's cerulean. That's another shade of that color. Right? Yes, Aditya? Interesting.
And the boss explained that even a small change of shade can make a whole big difference in the industry, and
Yes.
how it can create a whole industry to either elevate or downfall.
Yes, very right. Very right. Wonderful. Yes, Sudiksha?
Ma'am, this is a perfect example of how different people take different things seriously. So, For the boss, the color was very important. It was a serious matter. But for the assistant, at the same time, it didn't matter much to her. She thought that both of them are same things. Maybe because of the experience, the boss was more experienced in this industry and knew how customers would rely on her for different tastes and different dresses.
Yes, very right. Yes.
Ma'am, we can
Yes. Yes, please go ahead.
and we can also notice in the clip that Annie Hathaway is basically very inconsiderate about what she's talking about because the whole fashion industry works.
Casual.
Yeah, she's very
Yeah.
casual by terming by using the terms like both of um, basically
Stuff.
stuff. So that was a way too rude according to the perception of the boss because the boss actually knows that the whole industry is literally working over this casual stuff that she is referring to. That is why she taunts in the end of the clip. So
Yes.
basically,
Yes.
Anne Hathaway, the conversation, the communication between both of them was not right because Annie Hathaway basically, you can, you know, idealize her as, both people communicating to each other, but Annie Hathaway's conversation was informal and rude towards her boss.
Or a little casual. We cannot even say rude, but she's little because she's not into that industry so much. So it's like, yeah, okay, what difference does that make? Or yeah, like the seriousness of the occasion is not obvious to her. She doesn't understand that in this industry what maybe it's even a single thread means, right? So when we talk about specialization of workforce, this is one example for that also, how it becomes a barrier in communication, right? We are not specialized in something and the other person is, and both are at loggerheads in this situation. Great. Yes, Sahil. Yes, Sahil. Yes, Sahil, you're not audible. Unmute yourself, please.
Excuse me, ma'am, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, I'm just referring that I think the employee didn't mean to do that. She's not very casual, but as she was the intern only, and so she just said they are the same, but boss is someone experienced. So according to the boss, they were two different belts. But she didn't mean to exactly do that to show that she is very casual or something.
Yeah, exactly. It is not intentional. It's her reaction is at the spur of the moment, like we say. Like, that girl is holding the bells and she's like, I'm not able to decide. And she finds it so funny that, they're exactly the same.
Yes.
And then her boss explains her the meaning of color, right? But even in that, there is something in the boss. Because we're discussing socio-psychological barriers, you have beautifully explained the barrier or the problem that is there in between the two. Apart from that, there is something else also. Yes, Rama.
Ma'am, only we know what color we like and what are their means, what we means about that color, but others don't know. They simply said that this color belongs to, but we know this color belongs to which for ours.
Yes, yes, very right. Very right. Yes, Prajwal.
Ma'am, we can say that the way the intern just sniffled, that hurt the boss's ego, and
Ego, yes.
and her having somewhat of a god complex, having a superiority complex, which we got to know from the last clip yesterday. That hurt
Yeah.
her so much that she destroyed her. Basically, that was
Yeah.
what happened.
Yeah, in fact, that you used a very interesting term, the God complex. That's very interesting, Prajwal. In fact, it's exactly, if you notice the body language of the boss, she's like, she's not very happy with her. she's there on the job, all right, but she doesn't much bother or care about her, and she has that, oh, she's such an LS, we use the word LS sort of a person. So that attitude, that approach, that bent of mind is very much obvious in the manner in which she's replying. And if you pay attention to her eyes, how her eyes, they go up and down like this, when you try to scrutinize somebody, right? That who the hell are you? You're just a nobody. And she says that, this color that you're wearing and you feel that you're not part of the fashion industry. Hello, you must have picked it up from some clearance sale, but this color has a history. From where did it trickle down? Because we talk about the first copy, the third copy, second copy and stuff, right? You must have seen even these online uh, uh, people into online businesses, when they talk about certain, okay, fine, you can get six bunch of 6 MKs, and you wonder, can it be so cheap? Can MKs be so cheap, right? So so this is exactly that kind of a mindset that is very, very evident, that is very much obvious over here. We are able to see the psychological barriers in place, we are able to see the social hierarchy related barrier in place, and somewhere organizational barrier that we have already discussed, right? And you see how other staff is on their toes, alert, oh god, what she's done, right? That she's just, it's just she has it's a blunder. And that gentleman over there, I love the gentleman, I've forgotten his name. His non-verbal communication, his body language, that's the way he looks at her, oh, that she's gone for a toss. So any other thing that we may have missed out in the analysis of this video? Anybody in the class?
We can also say that at the end, she looked at the receptionist in the next room, and the receptionist, like the girl that was at the reception, she was also like, "It's your mistake." From her body language, we can tell that
Yeah,
it's your mistake.
it's your mistake. And what is it? What have you done? You
You
just
poked the
cannot
bear.
give. Yes, yes, very right. So coming to now the discussion of the socio-psychological barriers, I have this a list of socio-psychological barriers, but trust me, it doesn't end here. There may be more, because when we talk about the mindsets, when we talk about our psyche, it is as different as many people as that are there. So when we talk about status, I think our so many Bollywood movies have status as a core theme, particularly when it comes to love stories and all. That how status, when we talk about power, fear, importance, responsibility, superior subordinate relationship, all these things, they are always associated with the barriers that come between people that enjoy the different the higher status, or they who are on the different strata of the social hierarchical ladder. So, and in fact, even like we say, there are poor among the rich and there are rich among the poor, right? So even among the poor people, there is a status consciousness. I still remember, and I would love to share this example with you. My maid who used to cook, one day I just happened to get into a discussion with her. I love to understand people, and what she told me, that Didi, this maid for JPB, that jhadu pocha bartan at your home, she doesn't you should keep a check on her. I said, I can't keep a check on her. I will trust her till the time she breaks my trust. She said, I am very particular about the maid that does the dusting and jhadu pocha bartan at my home. And I was like, huh? Taken aback. She's my maid who has a maid to do the stuff for her at home, right? And I was literally keeping a maid. So status consciousness is so deeply entrenched in our psyche that we cannot accept a maid having a maid for her own self. Or I'll share another example with you, that the maid that she was criticizing, I wanted to give my overcoat to her, right? Because it was not torn, but like with us, it's not, we don't throw away clothes because they get torn or they get damaged, but they're just out of fashion, or sometimes we are bored of wearing the same stuff, right? Now she said that no, I cannot take it. I said, why? She said, what will the people say that I am a maid and I'm trying to be a mame. I'm trying to be, mame, that is madam. I can't wear it. I said, it's going to be very cold in the winters now, and you wear it. Nobody's going to say anything to you. But she did not. She said that I will take it. I will maybe sell it off, but I will not wear it. So status consciousness is so deeply entrenched, or how like we say, if you really want to understand the mindset of a person, you must observe how that person treats a person who's at a lower level from him, and that will show you the class of that individual. So how you okay, I have so many examples to share with you. Like
Excuse
this
me,
happened with yes.
ma'am. Actually, I also have an example like this.
Yeah, please
When
go
I
ahead.
was in Gurgaon, we had one driver. He lived in a nearby village, so he was a Gujar. So he used to come, and we used to give him around 15,000 per month. So, ma'am, one day he came in his Alto. I mean, we have a Duster. So he came in his Alto, parked it right aside our Duster, and sat in the Duster and said, "Yeah, tell me where we have to go." And then, ma'am, one day we went to his house, and ma'am, that was such a big house, and he had land worth rupees 8 crores or 10 crores in
Oh,
Gurgaon.
really?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, we went there for his sister's wedding. So he showed us that land, and ma'am, it was around 8 to 10 crores in today's price. He hasn't sold
Oh,
it yet. He is keeping it, and he works as a driver, earns his family a living, and he hasn't sold the land yet. So
okay. That must be a shocker for you.
yeah, yeah, sure, ma'am, sure.
Right, so see, sometimes it's all about dignity of labor. Some people are very, they have a lot of self-respect. We do not understand the concept of dignity of labor because hierarchy is too strongly entrenched in us, right? So just that's status consciousness, how status conscious we people are. We like you very interesting quotes or WhatsApp messages do the rounds at times, that once I came across that people ask you your job not because they want to really know what your job is, what your profession is, but they want, that will determine the amount of respect that you're going to give to that person. And that's so very true. You know how our body language and how our tone changes. Oh, IAS officer. Ah, engineer. Right? Like this. So, mechanic. Okay. Okay. So, this is how our tone changes. Because status is very strongly entrenched in us, and it is a big barrier in communication. I need not go into the details of it, of how status can be a barrier in communication. Attitudes and values, what do we mean by how are attitudes and values barriers in communication? Yes, please.
Mama, our attitude changes depending on who we talk to. Like if we're talking to a senior person, we are more respectful and we think before we speak. And if we are with a subordinate, we might be more rough, or we
Very
might not
true.
care about their feelings.
Yeah, because we have certain perception about that individual, like we say the colored thinking, we wear certain glasses, and those glasses change with the person that we are addressing, because the glasses change our perception, right? Yes, Aditya.
Ma'am, if one person thinks that he's too smart to work with another person, then ma'am, there
Hmm.
will be a communication barrier in the those two.
Very right, very right. Yes, Parth.
Ma'am, same point as Aditya.
Okay, yes. So our attitudes and the value systems, like well, it is correlated with the culture also. When we are, all of us are victims of attitudes. All of us, sometimes we talk about, oh, he has an air of attitude about him, like this Meryl Streep and these are the small clippings that I think I'll coax you people to watch this movie, The Devil Wears Prada. I have so many clippings from this movie because it can actually cater to so many aspects of communication. So attitudes and values, all of us are victim of that. We carry certain attitudes, we carry certain value systems, which is the result of the environment in which we live. And because of that, we take it as a yardstick. It is a measure. On the basis of that, we analyze other people. And therein, the barriers come into place. Therein, the miscommunication happens, misunderstandings happen, misinterpretation of facts, of situations. It takes place, right? Then different perceptions of reality. Man prefers to believe what he prefers to be true. Please explain this.
I have a question.
Yes.
And what is meant by colored thinking?
See, colored thinking means when there is a certain mindset that you have. For example, colored thinking means that your mind is not a blank slate, right? You will not take the things on their face value, but there is something already scribbled in your mind, and that particular definition that is there in your mind, that may be a result of some experience, maybe a result of something that you have read about a certain community or of a certain person, or the result of your upbringing, the environment in which you have been brought up, right? And that will maybe unknowingly compel you to trust or distrust other people,
And
right?
past experience.
Is one of the barriers in communication,
Okay.
right? Like in this like I gave you the example of my maid. We have certain attitudes towards our maid also. I'll share. There was this friend of mine, and this maid only, she shared with me that she said that she doesn't allow me to address her as Didi. She says Madam Bolo, don't address me as Didi or Bhabi. So this is an attitude that people associate these as relationships. So this is a maid, so she is not related to me. You're not my relative. You're not supposed to call me Didi or Madit or Bhabi, right? And I would find it very weird. Clear? So this is what our colored thinking is. We have certain preconceived notions. We have certain bias. We have certain prejudice, right? Because of which our thinking, our mindset towards people, towards certain aspects of the society, it is colored. Colored over here means we have already had a framework in our mind, and based on that framework we tend to greet or treat people. Okay. This is what is meant by colored thinking. When you wear colored glasses and you look around yourself, the colors change, the reality changes, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Even when you wear shades, the reality changes. It's not what it is, but you perceive it as per what you can see through those glasses. I think I've made my point clear.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Right? Yes. Yes. Anybody else has any question? So please explain this particular quote. Man prefers to believe what he prefers to be true. What does this mean? Yes, Divyam.
Ma'am, it means that there is no convincing some people. Like for example, there are a lot of anti-vaxxers or people who still believe the Earth is flat. Like there's so many evidences that that is not the case, but they still believe that, and they don't have
Yes.
any proof, so they just believe whatever they want to.
Okay. Okay. Yes, Nibir.
Ma'am, what I think is people don't really understand what other people sees or perceive the same thing. It is something like that we just believe what we see or what we think that's to be true. We don't step in other person's shoe to look at things differently.
Differently. Very good. Yes, Prajwal.
Ma'am, I'd like to add to the point of the anti-vaxxers and the flat earthers. To be honest, uh, they have proved themselves wrong a lot of times, but the fact that they want to feel special, that we know something that others don't, and we are special than them, so we should feel better, something like that. That's
Yeah,
why they
that's
keep believing even when they prove themselves wrong by their own experiments.
there is a kind of a tension that you want, no? And
Yes,
honestly speaking, I did not know about this concept of flat earthers. That
yes,
there
ma'am,
are
there's a
some
huge
people who.
community.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, okay,
This
okay,
was a
okay.
meme back then. It has died off, but the people are still there.
People are still there, right? Okay, that's interesting. Okay, I'll just show you this, and you're going to tell me what is the color that you see. What is the color that you can see?
Where?
Orange.
Yes,
Peach, kind of.
I can't see.
Peach color.
They,
peach. Okay,
I'm orange.
orange. Yes. What is it that you see?
Uh,
Brown.
Brown.
I don't know
And
what we call
bees.
this color in
A
English,
mix
but
of
like
brown and orange.
in
And bees.
in
Actually,
courses, this is called Gerua color. This color,
Gerua.
I'm
Okay.
apricot.
like that's applied to
Okay.
the pots and all.
Yes, yes, exactly. Okay, so many but
Ma'am, it is
and
Peach color. Peach.
bit reddish brown.
bit reddish
Reddish
brown,
brown.
right? It's
Earthy color.
white. It's white.
I'm sorry.
Because that's what I can see. I was holding this bottle.
Scam.
I showed it to you. What you could see was brown. What I could see was white. That's
Oh.
perception. That's your truth. That's my truth.
We
And
got
both are
bullied,
true.
ma'am.
Both are true. And this is what exactly happens, right, with us in life. When we talk about different perceptions of reality, that in like Francis Bacon is a famous essayist. I really feel so sad that now you no longer have the literature portion. Otherwise, we had one essay of studies by Francis Bacon. He's a wonderful writer. Man prefers to believe what he prefers to be true. That is selective perception of the situations. So, like everybody has his or her side of truth. And the real situation can be is, like they say, it's always about it's your side, my side, and the real side. It happens like this. So different perceptions of reality is the biggest barrier in communication. When things do not get sorted between different people, whether in the professional or personal world, generally it is the difference of perception. And we do not, like I tell you, our communication most of the times is not receiver centric. We never place ourselves in the shoes of the other persons. We are never responsible while communicating. We react rather than respond. So that is why we encounter so many barriers in communication, and perception or difference of perception being the biggest barrier in communication. Yes, Prajwal.
Ma'am, I'd like to add to that is like every villain thinks himself he's a hero. Like Hitler thought he was doing a favor to the world.
Yes.
And also think I don't know about the writer, but I have heard that everyone has their own truth that they believe.
Exactly. Exactly.
May
The
it be whatever.
Yes. So, and there is a reason behind it. You talk about, you talk to these dacoits, you talk about, all these criminals or people whom we label as the antisocial elements of the society. Nobody is born an antisocial. These people are made by circumstances, by situations. So they have a story. Each one of them have a story, right? And I'm not saying that they are right, but I'm saying they have a story. They have their side of truth that has been either told to them or that they have lived a reality that has disillusioned them, right? So selective perception of the situations is the biggest barrier in communication, and it is very relative. That is why they say reality is very relative. What is right for you is wrong for me, maybe wrong for me, and what is wrong for me may be right for you. We have different way we perceive it. Morality, we have different perceptions of morality, right? So inference, again, reality versus inferences, again, it is correlated with perception, the conclusions that we draw from a certain situation, or how we try to understand or misunderstand people. So there is always a difference between what is actually happening and what we are inferring from the situation, because there are barriers in between. It could be our past experience, it could be my relationship with that person concerned, it could be that current situation in hand, right? Maybe I'm very anxious, I'm very nervous. So there's so many factors in place, because of which there is a lot of gap between what is actually happening and how we are inferring, or what conclusions we are deriving out of it. I gave you this one particular example, and you people had so many different colors to come up with, because that is what you could see. There was connectivity issue, there could be some problem with how you're viewing, or maybe your eyesight is not that, there is some problem with your eyesight, or I changed the reality altogether. I said no, it's white, and I came up with this particular example. So how do we infer? What do we infer? What do we conclude from a particular situation depends upon many factors, and that defines our conclusion. When we talk about science, we still talk about certain standard or specific conclusions that can be arrived at based on certain results. When we talk about social sciences, when I talk about my domain, that is literature, now that is open for interpretation. 30 people, 30 interpretations, and we cannot say those 30 interpretations are wrong. 30 inferences. There can be so many different ways. On a single novel, you will find so many critiques, and you cannot say those critiques are wrong, right? Abstracting. What do we mean by abstracting? This is a very interesting phenomena.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I feel that all the things that you just said, while you showed us that a bottle, that medicine bottle, you showed us one side of it and not the other, while the second side was uh, you were yeah you that was visible to you, so you saw only the white side, whereas we saw a different color which was perceived by everyone differently. So we didn't. So this is actually a topic of a bigger side. For example, this is not something that everyone was viewing from just one side. We all had different perceptions and different interpretations of that particular color, because we just saw that particular color, but you saw the white color. So that was a completely different uh, answer. That was completely different interpretation that you took of the color.
Very true. Because our generally our perception of the situation is never complete. That's what abstracting is all about. When anything is happening, we don't have the complete picture before us. Something goes wrong between you and your boss. Boss has his end of the story, you will have your end of the story. And when both of you will communicate that story to a third person, there will not be the threadbare details, because your body language will not be communicated by you.
Yes, ma'am. He will have a totally different interpretation of the whole scenario.
The interpretation will be, trust me, there will be, if not much, but a slight variation. And that slight variation makes a lot of difference at times.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So when this is an example of our real life situations. Somebody sitting on the other end, maybe this side, would have seen this color.
Yes, ma'am. Somebody would have seen green color.
And truth is
Yes.
exactly like this. people
Yes.
viewing from, you have that example, that this is a very famous story of Panchtantra also, that there are those blind men, blindfolded people who are touching the elephant, and then they are interpreting the elephant. One person is touching the trunk, other person is holding the tail of the elephant, the other person is feeling the legs of the elephant, and according to their own what they feel, they are interpreting that what this particular animal must be. And that's exactly how we perceive reality. Yes, Prajwal.
Ma'am, I'd like to add just what Pragati said. It's like having two faces of a coin.
Yeah, very true. Two faces of a coin, and you cannot say the other one is wrong.
Yes,
right? Yeah, so abstracting is like you gave a wonderful again you recalled this particular example, that when we communicate, we are not able to communicate every detail of our experience. Even when I shared that experience or example with you, I'm not able to share the experience, I'm not able to share my feelings in totality. And even because even my observation of that particular situation is not complete, it is partial. And my observation is partial, so my communication will be partial because that experience is partial. And this happens with each one of us because we are not able to grasp that situation in totality. Why? Because our vision is colored. We have so many filters in place while we are observing that situation. Or we may miss out certain points. We may miss out noticing certain body non-verbal aspects of the situation. We may miss out, maybe the person was, doing something like this with the fingers, and that was a very, very crucial signal as to whether the person was genuine or whether the person was nervous or what. Right? When you sit for the interview, your answers are not the only thing that fetch you the job. There are many other factors in play. Your body language being a very, very crucial factor. Clear? Anybody who's not clear about whatever we have discussed till now? Anyone? Please answer. You can see the prompt in front of you. Can you see the prompt? I hope all of you are on peer deck.
Yes, ma'am.
Please answer. Yes, let me check the responses now. Okay. Great going. There is one person who seems to be a little confused. Please come up with your doubt. Or is it that the dot is stuck here? Yes.
Ma'am, so we just discussed that different persons have different opinions and we have to take care of different opinions while considering a response. That's all we discussed. I just want to confirm that.
Yes, yes, exactly. And this
Okay.
is exactly part what we are not able to do. If we are able to do it, then possibility of misunderstandings would minimize. But that just doesn't happen. Even if we want to something, something comes into our mind, something like, is it just my responsibility to understand you? Is it not your responsibility to understand me? Right? Yeah, Ravi, are you trying to say something? Ravi Sani?
No.
There is
Okay.
also a problem that some people do not share about themselves. So how to resolve
Yes.
that?
Yeah, very
Like
true. Very
introverted
true.
people.
Now, when people, like, I'll give you a very simple example. When we talk about truth and when we talk about lies, why do people lie? You feel hurt when somebody lies to you?
Sometimes
In order
it's
to create
important,
a
man.
better image of themselves in front of the other people.
Sometimes it's important, like you say, or sometimes it's about your image. But when somebody lies, you feel bad about it, isn't it? Nobody likes being lied to.
Yes, man.
Isn't it? Have you ever wondered why do people lie? I'm not talking about compulsive liars, but they too have a history. They do
They
have
lie
a
because they don't have trust or understanding between them.
And
They
there
it
is
think
depends
that
on to people.
they will think the opposite of that.
yes, so there is trust, there is the problem of trust, there is a problem of understanding. So
To
uh,
avoid confrontation.
yes. So who
And
is at
sometimes
fault? Is
people
it always
lie
the person
just
who's
to make
lying?
the other. And
Sorry.
sometimes people lie just to make the other person happy.
Yeah, that is also there. But you know what does it
Hey,
mean,
Kashyap.
Pragati? It means there is lack of space.
Yes, ma'am. There is lack of space. There is lack of
There is
understanding
lack
as
of
well as trust.
comfort.
Yes,
There
ma'am.
is lack of space. If I have to lie to you to keep you happy, it means I am not in a comfort zone.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
am not being honest with you. And when people lie to us, we tend to blame those people that you are a liar. But if we start taking a little bit of responsibility of those lies, that why do people lie to us? Because somewhere even we are responsible. Somewhere we did not give that comfort level, did not give that space, or did not give that environment to the person where the person could be
Truth.
honest,
Yes, ma'am. Truthful.
truthful
Yes.
to me. So if you want to make me happy and you have to lie for that, then there is a serious problem between us.
Yes,
You are
ma'am.
okay with your friends. You can be your, like we say, I can, sometimes you have those people in your life, you say, I can be my true self with you. Because that person is not judgmental about you. That person is not there to judge you. There is that acceptance of you as you. Nobody's trying to change you. There is that acceptance. And sometimes when you have certain fault, that acceptance of the fault also becomes a trigger for you to change yourself. But when we talk about this is a very interesting concept. I really sometimes wonder that if we actually start looking for the why behind the lie, I think the number of lies told to us, being spoken to us, would minimize. I won't say completely be done away with. After all, we are humans. But sometimes I feel there is always an issue of comfort, there is the issue of space, and therefore understanding and acceptance that we tend to lie, and it becomes a big barrier in communication. Or when we talk about socio-psychological barriers, see, there are so many socio-psychological barriers that we can talk about. Uh, like allness and closed-mindedness. That's the one of another biggest barriers in communication, that the know all attitude towards people. Closed mind. I know everything. And because I know everything, and then whatever you are saying is not right, is not true. Like something that you will notice when you start participating in group discussions, you will realize that even when you are keeping a very, very strong point, the other person is not just ready to accept what you're saying. What I've said is final. You're closed, you're inflexible, you are rigid the to a different interpretation of that situation. You have a prejudiced mind. Prejudice is pre-judgment. You already have one conclusion which is set in your mind. So you have closed your mind, because of which you are not very much accepting to the viewpoint of other people.
Ma'am, isn't this the same as the color thinking? There's no
Yes,
difference.
all these are, these are different aspects of colored thinking. That why does our thinking become colored? Why do our perceptions vary? This is one of the reasons. We think I am right. I know everything. I have that perception of myself, and the other person is a fool. Yes, Parth.
Ma'am, the same thing happened that I'm giving a very strong point against some discussion in time to sign activities during the orientation program to other student who is in law school, I guess, and he's saying that he has developed some prototype to save energy and save the environment, but all he is doing is converting the chemical energy, the fossil fuel, into energy in a very inefficient way, for which is against the consumer's requirement. So, and it is also harming the environment in even more way than just converting the fossil fuel directly into energy. But he is not convincing that he's saying that it is better for the environment and all that thing. Even though I am giving very strong points that it will
But the
lose energy
person wouldn't
depletion.
accept.
No, man.
Yeah. So this is, how this becomes a barrier in communication. So again, I will have to rest our discussion on barriers here only. I hope you people have been able to grasp what we've discussed. So in the next class, we'll be able to wind up this topic, and then we'll start a discussion on the gateways to overcome these barriers. How can we overcome these barriers? How can we minimize the possibility of miscommunications or misunderstanding, right? So till that time, have a nice day, stay safe, and stay healthy. And come up with your doubts, with your observations.